I've served in the Navy, and the Navy is supposed to be a three-dimensional service. You can be a fighter pilot, you can be a commando, you can be an underwater experienced person, professional. HR is also multi-dimensional. You can be a salesperson, recruitments. You can be a strategist, you can be a trainer, you can also be a CEO and CEO. I would request our Honorable Chief Guest to come and share his views, having served 35 years in various parts of the HR, what in his so many years of valuable experience is that domain of HR which, according to him, makes you a most valuable HR person and which makes you futuristic also. Over to Mr. Varadarajan.
Hello? Isn't no different, right?
Yes, different.
Okay, you know, you have spent the entire day hearing people, understanding what's happening in HR, what is critical, what is important, and I am going to bore you again from a 30,000 feet level of what HR is. Now, all of us are, I started off by saying that we are in a very, very interesting environment at this point of time. No seminar on business is complete without someone saying globalization is taking over everything, right? Globalization has affected everything that we do. I still remember when I was young, whenever someone came from overseas, the first thing I used to ask them was to get me a Lux soap or a cream which is not available anywhere in India, a Vaseline cream or a Johnson's cream. Now look at it, it's available across the counter in any of the shops, even down the road. So to that extent, globalization started affecting each and every one of us personally. Now to that extent, the businesses are also getting affected towards that. India as a whole, we spoke about the 1.3 billion Indians. I think globalization has played a major role in the way we have never imagined. Look at the growth which we have had over the last many years. I'm not talking about the last 5 years, but before that. Look at the growth. Have you ever been able to look at India differently to what it was in 1947 to what it is today? There's tremendous growth thanks to globalization. Huge amount of FDI, foreign investment coming into India has quadrupled and 10 times over, and people are investing in India because they believe that India is a great market to be in. What it has also done is at one point of time, when I started working, to work in an MNC was a great thing to do. If you're not working in an MNC, you'll say, oh, you're working for this company. No, MNC. But look at the amount of transnationals which have come into India, which are competing with the world. TCS, Tata Group, Reliance, Aditya Birla Group. Look at the number of groups which have come up, which are competing with the world as multinationals. Now, that is the beauty of where we are in terms of growth due to globalization. So what has globalization taught us? Geography is now history. There are no barriers. There are no boundaries. Everything is across. So you will have in a team, Americans working, Japanese working, Chinese working, Australian working, all in one team. I used to work in a BPO. It starts with the Australian market, comes into the Far East market, Indian market, Middle East, Europe, and then US. Everyone working together in unison for a single organization, a single goal. So to that extent, the challenges which we have, we heard Deepak talk about diversity and inclusion. The criticality of diversity and inclusion has started coming to us much earlier, and India were lucky because we are a diverse culture in any case. So to that extent, we are able to accept diversity. There are a lot of myths about inclusion, and I'm not here to talk about the myths, we'll talk about that some other time. But this globalization created entrepreneurial activity in India. Lots of entrepreneurs, lots of companies came up. But central to this, on the growth aspect, was talent. the focus on how do I get the right people in the right place for them to grow the company and grow the business. So the focus was on talent. If the focus was on talent, look at the world we are in. We heard about VUCA. I have a different definition for VUCA if you have to grow. It's vision, understanding, clarity and alignment. That's VUCA. Why should we worry about ambiguity if we are clear on what we want? Why should we be so worried about the various unclear things when you have clarity in what you want to do and able to manage ambiguity by having a vision and creating an alignment? If you are able to do that, then you look at things which are creating these ambiguities for you, these complexities for you. The biggest disruption is being caused by the business models today. You know, we have, all of you, many of you take Uber. Uber is one of the largest transport company in the world and they don't own any transport. Facebook is one of the largest media companies in the world. They don't create content. Alibaba is one of the largest logistics companies in the world. They don't have an inventory. Netflix is one of the largest cable network company in the world. They don't have cables. So what is different? If people are creating new business models, so that is disruption. Technology advancement is going through the roof. It's now working anywhere, anytime, any place with any instrument. So with all this, how are we going to manage our organizations? What are the challenges which we face for organizations? In order to manage all this, we need to innovate and grow. We need to innovate. And that is the only way we can do things differently. Now, there was a CEO study which was conducted and people asked them, what do you think are the major challenges you face with your HR teams? The first thing they said was, these people are not fast enough for me. They are not able to be in equal terms with the business guys. So we all of us start by saying, how do we be business partners? You know, I have been in HR for 35 years. Right from my first year of service till now, there's one common theme which is consistent across all HR, events and conferences. How to become a business partner. It's never changed. Right from day one of my working till today, we still talk about how to become. Why? Because we are insecure. We don't believe we are business partners. I say we are the business. Why does finance have a conference to say how can we be business partners? Why is a marketing person not saying why can we be business partners? Only HR has to come up with it. Why? Because each one of us believe that we don't have it in us. Why? Because we don't understand business. I am generalizing by saying we. But many of the HR people are so stuck with transactions that we don't take it to the next level. Raj and I were talking about how it's critical to understand business and talk in the same language before you earn credibility. And the biggest thing for an HR person to get things done is the credibility he or she earns. So how do you understand business and go about doing it? Now, if the CEOs are feeling that way, what do you think need to do? Lots of things are happening around you. Organizational structures are changing. The way we do business are changing. Take for example, the workforce or the future. If you think that they are all going to be permanent employees, we are sadly mistaken. Lot more freelancers will get into the workforce. Gig workers will get into the workforce, coming in for just the projects and moving on. They are on one side. You will have people who are working with you on the other side. And then you will have people who are owners or managers on the other side. How do you integrate them? You can't have one policy for everyone. You need to have structured, tailored policies for each set of people. Take for example multi-generation. We talk about multi-generation and many generations in one. Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. I don't even know whether I am a baby boomer or before that. But I survived because I kept adapting myself as I went by. If I have to learn technology, I learn technology. Someone did say that you need to do it before you demand respect from them. That's what creates oneness in you. So when a marketing guy goes to the market, he does a customer survey, understands what product is required, and then develops a product to suit that need. Why can't we do that in HR? this is a multi-generation workforce. Why don't we understand each and every requirement from the workforce and tailor our products to suit them? That's marketing. So you are an HR guy, but why can't you do that marketing part? Similarly, how do you optimize your spend on cost and spend? You are a finance guy. So you need to be a conglomerate of all the functions put together to become a successful HR person. So you will have Velcro type of employees. They'll come in and go, come in and go. How do you manage them? Now if you are looking at this, HR needs to move from a support role to a value add role. David Ulrich very clearly mentioned this many years ago, saying HR needs to stop being inside out and become outside in. What do you mean by that? He basically said, understand the market, what requirements the market has, what requirement the business has to meet those market goals, and how you as an HR function can create that capability to meet the business needs. So if I were to conclude and say, what does HR need to do, or how do we prepare for the future? First thing which you need to do is be ready to embrace disruption. Disruption is part of life. It's not going to be going away. Change is constant and disruption is constant. So how do you align and the agility with which you manage disruption? Many of us are still tech shy. Yeah, we will work on our computers, we'll work on Excel, we'll work on PowerPoint, we know that. But we need to get tech savvy. And those of you who have young teenage children at home, you have no choice but to become tech savvy. So you have to become tech savvy, and that is the first thing, because the entire world is going based on technology and digital growth. How do you align with that? We talk a lot about HR analytics. I've heard multiple people talk about AI, MI, everything. Remember that in artificial intelligence, the intelligence comes from you. Technology is the artificial part. The entire intelligence comes from the human being. So to say that human beings will be moved out with the AI coming in is not true. So how are you going to move from metrics to insights? Analytics will give you metrics. It will say so many people were absent today, or so many people have attrited in this month. The insights which you get out of that is what will make you different and make you a credible HR leader. So how are you going to make that? This next thing is, we are so concerned about the processes which we have as HR heads or HRs. This process, recruitment process, training and development process, that process. But we have to move away from that to managing employee experiences. I will not be surprised when a CHRO will be named a Chief Employee Experience Officer soon. Because what we are here is to attract, retain and develop people to meet the business needs, which is building the capability for meeting business requirements. So how are we going to create those experiences right from the time the person walks in for an interview till the time leaves your organization? What is the experience you bring in? Many times, I think I heard someone say that we have no time for things, and you spoke about it, Raj, about the urgent one and important one. We tend to believe that we are all supermen and superwomen. That we should do it, no one else can do it. If we do it, this is the best way to do it. I've been a culprit. I've been a culprit for many years. But if I can't move out of that, from doing so many things to doing what is critical and what is the most powerful, influencing role is what you need to do. So, from doing everything to doing what is most critical and what is most important for your business. Next thing is, all of HR are very, very happy being rule enforcers, policemen. This process you didn't follow, so you are fined this, or you did not do this. Can we get out of that and become equal partners in what we do? Unless we understand each and everyone, that is where design thinking will help. How are we able to understand what people are and what their requirements are and develop what we need for them? And last but not the least, from being supporters or helpers to becoming doctors who diagnose what's happening in the organization, what is required in the organization, and helping the organization grow. Now I am open to questions because I have another 3 to 4 minutes of my time. So any questions, anything except my weight.
Construction industry, and the biggest human resource we utilize is a class which is not recognized by this group. Nowadays, BOCW is very critical. Government is asking their bank accounts, their salary to be deposited into that account. They're all PF and all. It's all started. And on the other hand, for whom we are working as a MNC company, their HR people are harassing us to submit those documents. So, as an industrialist, I am in a sandwich kind of position. I cannot have those laborers or those human resource, all these documents with them. Nobody is there in the market to guide me. I am representing my industry. So, there are huge count. In fact, we are the biggest employers in the country as a construction industry. So, I think on this platform, you should address this issue.
Look, I will charge a royalty separately from you for giving you an assignment, consulting assignment. But if you look at it, one of the ways of doing it is educating them. Government has made it easier by saying compulsorily you have to give it into a bank account. They have said digital payments. Utilizing those for your benefit and educating people to open accounts, educating people to bring in, align them to a larger vision. For example, you can say that India is becoming a digital organization, as a digital country. How can each one of us, individually help in getting there? Look, small drops make an ocean. It's not going to happen like that. So each one of us, in our own way, how are we contributing to the digitalization of the union, of the country? This is a good, base to start by educating them and creating what I call as people who are helping them do it. Evangelists, as I call them. Say, for example, in a group of, say, 20 workers, there will be 2 or 3 who are savvy. Not all of them are not savvy. There will be 2, 3 savvy. Give them the task. They will listen to their co-worker differently than listening to you. So, education, using vision, and creating a linkage from what they want to do to the vision. And this vision is clear. We want to be a digital India. Bring it down saying, how can you as an individual be digital? That's the way you can do it. But I do agree, it's not easy. 85% of the construction industry was in cash. Why do you think that the growth of India got scuttled from 2016? It's only because of this. I know companies who are closed. I know my own classmates who are running industries, small-scale industries who closed. Because they were not getting any products, input material based on checks or digital payments. They were not able to produce and pay their workers. It is a big issue. One is to manage that. Second is to go back and tell the authorities saying, how can we? That is why industry associations are there. Are we able to represent it to the industry association, to represent to the government, to say these are the issues? I'm not for once saying don't stop it. But how do you ease the way of getting these things done?
So one of the attempt from the government to, but when it comes to adopting those practices and there's not much knowledge which is available, so they resort to various consultants to actually go ahead and do that. But do you think it is important for HR to be empowered to adopt with the change?
Look,
and move with
any change, you have to first own it. You have to say that, okay, this change is going to benefit me as an individual, the organization, and as a result, the community, and as a result, the country. That's the first step. If you are not aligned in that, get yourself aligned to that. Because unless you have your मन in it, you won't be able to do it. That's number one. Number two, don't be ashamed to go and ask for help.
Absolutely.
I don't know, I can admit here, I don't need a, can't you hear me? You can hear me, right? I always am told that I have a mic in my mouth. My dad says this very often. So, if I, for example, I'm admitting, I don't know the codes. You can say, oh, this guy has 35 years of experience, why doesn't he know the code? I don't know. There's nothing wrong in accepting that I don't know. There are some people who are experts in it. For example, GST was introduced. I didn't have a clue of it. I don't know whether I still have a clue of it.
127 amendments have taken place.
So, I don't even know where it started and where it is today. But I use someone. Yes, when the development happened, the chartered accountant developed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Income tax at one point of time I didn't understand, so I used a chartered accountant. But now I can file my own returns because I understand. Luckily, there has not been many changes there. So, the second thing is to admit that you don't know everything in this world and seeking help. Third thing is when you seek help, start learning it as you do it. And hope they don't change it again.
True. Right. Well answered.
Any other questions before I...
Sent in to other departments for getting the knowledge. Could those things at certain given point of time could they reach to a level then which could be started on an industry level, like just as in HR, a manufacturing person could be asked to IT industry asking a manufacturing HR person to come and deliver their performance to in IT and can add values?
This happens in large groups. Raj and I belong to a group called the Tata Group. I moved from telecom to business services to IT to telecom to airlines. All different industries. Okay, I didn't have a clue of telecom when I joined them. I didn't have a clue of airlines when I joined them. Opportunities are available. It is for us to take it. Many a time we get so tight with what we think we know and what we underestimate ourselves many times. Because that is a culture. Eastern culture will always say, be modest, underestimate yourself, don't show you're huge. To a certain extent I agree with that, but you can't be like that always. Each one of us have it. So the advantage is in big groups, it happens. The other way of doing it is you choosing a call and moving, which is more difficult. Because within your group you can move, but for example, I am in telecom, I go and apply for a manufacturing, seeing my grey hair, they may accept to at least meet me. How you are able to project your knowledge of what you have done and weave it into what is required in a manufacturing will help you. So you need to be aware, you need to be up to date of what's happening in a manufacturing industry and what you are and how what you are doing today will help in a manufacturing. For example, I came from a BPO to telecom. What is the difference? I said, if people have not worked in a BPO, they don't know what dynamic HR is. Every day, how many are, anyone from BPO here? If you have not worked in BPO, you don't know what dynamic HR is. Every day there is a change. Every day there is a crisis. So when you moved in from that to telecom, I felt there was no work. But what did I say? I said I brought in the process excellence. What I have done is processes in managing employee engagement, in managing large scale hiring into the telecom industry. So it is necessary for you to know first of all where you are, what you are doing thoroughly, and then project it to say how will it fit into the next industry. And what are the requirements in the industry, you need to be aware. That you can be aware by picking up and calling your friends and asking, or reading some articles, you will know. Then see how do you project it. Okay, I think I am out of time. 2 minutes? Last question, if any. There's none. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to India's first corporate news channel. We invite interviews, articles, press releases from your organization. Visit our portal www.indianconventions.com. Thank you.